For certain people, maybe it'll be great. Maybe for certain people, it'll actually do more harm than good. But I'm going to throw a flat ground today, roughly 90 feet, maybe 80, 90 feet. Okay, so historically speaking, flat grounds are meant to be accomplished at a shorter distance than the actual like pitching mound. So I'm going to flip the script. I actually really like what this gives me in terms of feedback, because a couple things that I'm working on is the obvious underlying biggest piece is elevated heaters. So this really forces the issue. And then throwing my curveball harder. I noticed when I threw a kind of extended flat ground yesterday that the one thing that was really exposed was getting my curveball. Now, obviously you don't want to create a ton of bad habits because you are on flat ground. So especially with like a breaking ball, you have to like really induce a lot of break. So your release slot's going to be skewed, especially with my curveball, as I get about 20 inches of movement. So you got to kind of have that in mind. But again, my goal, not really necessarily location based with my off speed, more so just like focusing on getting after it. All right. So elevated heaters, curveballs, and elevated sliders actually is going to be a focus for me today. So this is something that maybe you can do if there's particular things that I kind of just mentioned that you're struggling with, or I just like it too, to really amplify you getting after it. I think a lot of occasions, especially when guys catch flat grounds, the pitcher will hold back, and they'll frick up the timing of segmentation and all that stuff, because one part of your body is probably going to be moving at a slower tempo than the other part of the body. So that's a whole nother spiel. But here we go. I'm going to just kind of throw, it's a light day for me. We're just kind of playing with some things. Now that I look at it, I don't even think I'm close to 90. This is probably 75, but same thing. Elevated heaters and elevated sliders, and just rip and deuce paces. I just signaled to the net, hey, fastball's up, coming. That's, perfect. It's perfect because it's like, what's the opposite of getting rewarded? Because I get that when I do exactly what I want. Penalized, hey, got it. All right. Elevated heater. Let's try to shoot just for the net. Top tier, top quadrant. Don't hit those dang pads. I'm losing enough baseballs. Well, what are you gonna do? All right, curveball. I just signaled, what, 4 times? It's funny, I throw the spike, so I'm putting my nail in the seam, and I noticed that when my nail just gets a little bit long, and I have crazy amounts of biotin apparently because my nails grow so fast, but when my nail gets a little bit long, if I don't take one day to file it down, I get super hesitant with putting my nail in the ball. That's why you'll see probably a lot of arm side curveballs, because I'm not reinforcing that wrist posture. So that's my excuse. Everyone needs one, right? Elevated slider. Well, I didn't say how elevated. Elevated slider. It's actually not bad right there. I think my arm thinks that I actually am at 90 feet because I said it so many times. But this is a really nice ball. Elevated slider. That's it right there. That's the one. That's the one. Right under the lefty's hands. Now we'll go glove side elevated heater biscuit. For some reason, I decided to throw the first one of the day that was down. Let's redo that because I didn't count if we can edit the footage. Curveball. I told you, man, it's gonna be arm side because I feel like my finger is leaving early, so it pops it out. Let's see if glove side sights will fix this finger issue. That popped out. All right, last heater of the day, top quadrant in the net. That ain't it, boys. Top quadrant in the net. That is it, boys. All right, much love.